The incident of the threat of Hurricane Sandy actually provided us an excellent opportunity to experience or anticipate the rising sea level would do to our citizens. We responded by advance warning and evacuating our citizens, and fortunately, the citizens responded very positively and took it seriously. We were very fortunate that the storm passed by us, but it did create significant flooding. In addition to responding to the event, we then continued to modify our floodplain ordinances and adapt to those changes that we felt were necessary in order to make those ordinances strengthen those ordinances. Our community is a very small community, so financial resources are somewhat limited. So we are dependent upon both the county, state, and federal government to assist here. Most of the roads that were subject to flooding are state-maintained roads, so working closely with the state and the county is very important to our success. Of course, we need the support of legislatures understanding the significance of sea level rise. Being a community that's surrounded by marshes and water on three sides, we are very much affected by any storm surge that comes along. This conference provides an opportunity for both parties to come together and talk about the significance of sea level rise and flooding. And it's important that we do this because these impacts are not partisan. They do not have anything to do with politics as much as they do with our quality of life, our economic future, and the impact it will have on the country as a whole. We have a mitigation planning team that meets quarterly and addresses the education of the community as well as significant events that may be happening and changes that we anticipate we need to make. In addition to that, we conduct 2 seminars annually trying to educate our population about the impact of sea level rise and recurrent storms. The community's understanding of this is somewhat a challenge because we're a relatively small community of full-time residents, approximately 3,000, but we have a very large migratory population that comes on a seasonal basis. Our population probably quadruples in the summer, and many of those are absentee homeowners. So when they're here when the season is perfect and the weather is beautiful and the ocean is delight, but they are not there when the storms arrive. And so getting them to accept that is very, very much of a challenge. I think this conference provides an opportunity for a broad-based understanding and an opportunity for those of us who are here to recognize that we're not alone and that we can bind together, and as a group we can be a unified voice. And for that reason alone, this conference is extremely valuable. As a tourist-based economy, it's important that we try to provide education to our tourists, and we do some of that. And I think it depends on where the tourists come from, whether they are really interested. It also depends on their prior experiences. But more and more, I see questions being asked by tourists about what happens here when. And that's encouraging to me that it is having an effect with a tourist population, and that they are asking more about what does this area look like. Part of that is driven by the fact that not only are we a resort community, but we're a very large retirement community. So many of the tourists that are coming to visit us are thinking about possibly relocating to our community. So that drives that question.